In the organization of creation, there is no water-soluble element other than in humus. And organic farming does not mean that one uses organic manures. Organic farming means that one farms within the organization of nature. Justus von Liebig's discovery that plants can take in elements only in a water-soluble form is absolutely true. And since that discovery, roughly in the middle of the 19th century, agricultural science commenced. There was no agricultural science before then. With that discovery, it became possible to put water-soluble NPK, urea, superphosphate into the soil water, which had not occurred before because soluble elements were only in humus, enclosed in the colloid. It would not mix with the water of the soil. The water of the soil was pure. This is like a rubber ball. I can squeeze it and it takes its form again. That is typical for pure humus. There is nothing known or written in agricultural science books about humus. If they have any humus, give me the other bag, please. That it is analyzed. That means it is split into little parts. It is burnt very high and made into ash, and ash is then measured like this here. This is organic matter, peat moss, not humus. It is made into that substance and then measured as carbon in the soil. More they don't understand in agricultural science. Now humus is a colloid, and it can stay, or this, I have now got 20 days on the trip. It hasn't changed. Because of its colloidiness, it doesn't dry out. I have added no water. The analytical process of conventional science makes it into carbon and measures it, values it as carbon. I look at the total substance. If I meet a man, I'm not interested in a pathological test. I'm interested in the living being. I can interact, I can watch his face, I can watch his movements. That is my approach to science and not an analytical one. There was a fight between Socrates, who gave the inspiration to Plato, and then it came to Aristotle to found the culture of Europe. Normally only Plato and Aristotle are considered, and Socrates, because nothing was written down, was not considered. There was a fight between Socrates and Democritus, who was an atomist, like science today, little bits and pieces, and yet they can't make a living plant out of all the living bits and pieces. They can't get a total approach. And I'm a holistic person. I want to see the reality. And when I had farmed for 2 years on a very eroded farm, very steep, I had no money. I came as a refugee, being saved by the French security police as far away in Germany as the Russians were. They wanted to catch me, the communists, who had already killed many of my family, because we are a historic family, and I particularly was looked for and saved to Australia. And so I had no money. My father still had 55,000 hectares of the Ukraine in various estates, but that had all been taken away. And when I had farmed 2 years in Australia, senior agronomists from our agriculture department, who were aware of my results on my farm after 2 years, came and asked, what of this humus substance can plants take in? And they proposed that it could be only humic acid, because it's liquid, and they are cast from Justus von Liebig at thinking only of water solubility. So I took a preserving jar for peaches or cherries, open at the top, put this substance in full, and buried it that deep underneath pasture in spring. The two last ones. So after 6 weeks, after 6 weeks, all the brown substance in the glass had vanished and was full of white hair roots. So plop, it came out like the piston in a cylinder in a motor. Only these white hair roots were in there, not one single brown root. So I discovered that there are two root systems. The older brown roots which go down, and they are there to take water into the plant for transpiration rate. And they are designed by creation to have pure water. And the feeder roots, the white new roots that go into the humus. Through observing actively, and that is the special subject of mine, and observing total realities instead of hypotheses, I came to the discovery of two root systems. I won't here go into the problem caused by what is called natural science, conventional science, but I will just mention thalidomide. Thalidomide is the drug that was used to stop nausea in pregnant women, and it caused the most dreadfully malformed babies in the long run. Do you remember thalidomide, sold as Contergan in Germany? Sufficient for governments to register thalidomide was that it stops nausea in pregnancy. Nobody today knows what else it would do, but it had that dreadful result of malformed babies. I'm of training a philosopher. It is a philosopher's task to examine the system of knowledge in his time, and the system of knowledge at present is, I can go into details, but I won't here now, there's not the time. The system of knowledge at present is very hypothetical. It is not good. It is totally different to how I have proceeded with getting knowledge of nature pertaining to soil and to plants. The examination of the thalidomide beforehand to understand does not exist. The same applies to most medications today and to most agricultural chemicals used. Nobody knows the total effect. They only know and go by a particular effect. For instance, if you use Roundup, can you put on my page the two wine ones? Now, this is a biodynamic vineyard. You see the health of the vines, and you see the soil is structured very beautifully, and rain could get in and air can get in. Now go to the other picture. This is in Burgundy. The one is a biodynamic vineyard. This is 1 meter away, like that. Now, this is compacted due to the method used. You see erosion, and you see that this so-called soil would not take water in, but the worst is the longest that I know, more Roundup has been used for longer in wine growing, especially in the Champagne, than I have seen anywhere else. And this has had decades of Roundup. This soil is sealed like with glue from Roundup. And anyone who has looked at a plant killed by Roundup should see that the plant has not been killed, it has been annihilated. Now you can switch off again. The plant has been annihilated. Annihilated means it lies on top of the ground, the leaves, as though it was tissue paper, and it can never be used anymore in making new humus. It is taken out of the biology of the soil, and the roots are killed, going right down, which should be open for worms and microbes to keep structure and get water down. Roundup is a murderer. And, well, it has to be considered. Now, the moral spirit of farmers before Justus von Liebig and still in my childhood would never have used a chemical to kill plants that nature and creation had provided. Today, under the gradual sinking of morality and the gradual influence of materialism, of getting quick money, etc., that morality is almost extinct. Some farmers may still have it. We have many farmers in Australia who don't need any chemical. The pests that are on plants you want to grow here, which biology are living up there. Plants that are sown here, which belong there biologically, will be attacked by pests, which nature puts there to get rid of what is sick. Those plants are sick, and I will show more in a moment why. Justus von Liebig, towards the end of his life, was despondent at what he had caused. He shows that in his 23rd chemical letter. Understanding that plants need elements to be water soluble, factories, money, put NPK in a water-soluble form into the water of the soil. You manure in organic farming, as it is called, with chicken pellets. The nitrogen in chicken pellets is just as water-soluble as the nitrogen in urea. And, well, the plant has no independent warmth organization, whereas we and animals have each our own warmth organization. If we work hard physically or mentally, we are exhausted, we are hungry, and we have to eat. The plant has no inborn warmth organization. The warmth organization is not the sunlight or photosynthesis, but the sun warmth. It is in the plant. And sun warmth decides when and how much the white hair roots take out of humus and when it stops. That is organization of our solar system in creation. The sun warmth decides that, not the fertilizer bag which you put in the water. There is no NPK in the water of an organically functioning soil. And in my IFO lecture of 05, IFO conference, I say to conventional agronomists, in your model of agriculture, you have no bank to hold elements. You put them on the plant is overfilled and the rest runs into the river and causes blue-green algae, poisons. I therewith challenged conventional agronomists, and from one Australian department 2 months later I received a publication with nanotechnology. They will be able to do the same as humus does in nature's design, and that is going a little beyond it.